moment to read a short bio for Barry Stark. His official job title is Library Service Technician, but he's awesome upstairs in our genealogical library. He has a bachelor's in television broadcasting. Just as an aside, both our speakers today added a little humor to their bio. He's had over 3 years in this library system in genealogy and over 10 years in library experience. He's had varied career experiences throughout the years, and a highlight being his time with the American Embassy in Moscow, Russia. He is, in his words, I quote, internationally unknown and nationally ignored. Barry?
Well, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. And we love it when the West Florida Genealogical Society is here. And I'm going to mention a couple of handouts we have on the table up here. You can take any of those today, and we also have them upstairs. If you don't grab one today, or you know a friend that comes over, we hand these things out. Now they told me they're recording this today. I said that was fine. I don't have any copyright restrictions, and I know now if any of you do take photos though, I do ask that you don't put it in the post office and put the word wanted underneath it. I have found there are quite a few criminals in my background, in my genealogical research. However, I did find out Bert has many more than I do, but just by nature, because they're all outlaws. Okay. Now that they're booing, we will move. So here's one of the handouts. I'm just going to mention it very briefly. And it says up top, how to find the Pensacola News Journal articles using the library's ProQuest digital database. So if for some reason you're not familiar with it, the library pays a lot of money for this subscription to ProQuest. It has more in it than the Pensacola News Journal. But of course, if you're doing local research and looking for something that would be in there, it's an excellent resource. We actually have a lot of Pensacola News Journal on microfilm, but I do not recommend, if the years are available on the database, it's way quicker and much better to use that than actually our microfilm. It goes all the way back to 1905. So, and it's up to like about 7 to 10 days ago. So it's very recent in there. We also have a daily copy of the Pensacola News Journal. If you didn't know, the library gets 2 copies of that every day. So you have that. I'll mention this is a new one. This is the gals did this. It's a layout of our library and where the books are up there. Of course, anytime you're in here, please just stop at the desk. We're happy to help you. If you've got a book you're looking for, if you need help looking it up in the catalog, or if you already have the catalog number and you need help finding it on the shelves, don't think you have to use this sheet to do that. I will mention on the sheet though, there is a nice thing at the bottom. It has the address here, but it also has our direct phone number. So we do have a direct phone number in the genealogy. If you just call the library, it goes through adult services and then they transfer it over to us. It's usually fairly seamless, but once in a while it gets disconnected. So, but they call back if you accidentally get disconnected when they send you through. Now this one is cool. This one is actually a part of a packet. We developed this one years ago. We do have what we call genealogy starter packet. So if any of you are very new to genealogy, this might be really helpful to you. You're certainly welcome to take one. We have them upstairs. I don't have a lot of those down here because most of you are probably more advanced than you need what's in here. But it's a cool little pack where you can start your family tree, just some finding your family roots, some tidbits for people who are very new to it. Because we'll have people So I will mention this. So one advantage of us being here now versus the branch is we do get people who come here because they're coming to main library anyway, and they wander through. They don't even know they're looking for a fiction book and they wander through our area and they look lost, and they are. And so we say, I'm sorry, is there anything we can help you find? And sometimes they'll just say, oh, we're just browsing, or they might be looking for a fiction book. And we'll say, well, just so you know, we are the genealogy department. If you're ever interested in researching your family history, we're the place you should go. We'll be happy to help you. And then if they've got a moment, we'll say, is that something you're interested in? They say, well, I thought about it. Well, I'm glad you said that because we have this genealogy starter pack. And we also have one-on-ones. You can come in and talk to people. We'll help you get started. So we get people that we wouldn't have gotten in the branch. I would say 2, 3, 4 people a month come through, and we get a hold of them that way. Whether they come back, we can't guarantee that. But part of that packet is this thing, which at whatever level you're at in your research, you may find this helpful. This is internet websites that we've culled over the years that we know are legitimate. Any of you who search on the internet know how easily you put some search thing you're looking for in there, and it's going to bring up all kinds of junk, and it's going to look like it's legitimate. Now, if you're experienced in research, you can probably pick out the scam things pretty quickly, but those that are new to it especially might not. Well, these have the actual websites on here, and it's by topic. For instance, cemetery and death records, history and geography, state digital records online, specialty things for ethnic research like African American, Hispanic. That's all on here. Very helpful. I recommend that. So I left some of those down here, and we have more of this stuff upstairs. All right, that's all the announcements. I just want to go through some of that. And in general, please come by anytime. And if you've got a few minutes after this meeting is over, if you want to come up, we would love to have you. We'd love to talk to anybody about genealogy. We technically have on the library's website and on our schedule a one-on-one session on Mondays. It is what the official one is, once a week on Mondays. Patty Salvaggio, who some of you might know, she's been with us a long time. She worked for us for a while, part-time. Now she's back to being a volunteer, which is what she started doing, because her passion is genealogy. And just another quick aside, and I'm sorry to take this time, but I know sometimes I get questions from people, even in the society. So I told you the advantage of moving over here is somebody, might come up that we may never see over at the branch because they're looking for something else. One disadvantage is, even though we are the genealogy department, we are part of the greater library, and we're part of what used to be a computer lab. We have more than half of the computers that the old computer lab had. That is a lot of our work. So those computers up there are not just for genealogy research, they're for anybody. Some people, 6 hours a day, they're watching YouTube videos. But we have people doing resumes, we have people doing productive things as well, but they're not genealogically related. So a lot of our time is spent on that. So we do have a little carved space of time out so that if there's somebody specifically needing genealogical help, we're happy to do it. So there's that Monday, that's from 12 to 2. We do ask with that session, people sign up. So we know they're coming, they give us their name, their phone number, in case, disaster strikes and we need to call them, they're closing the library down for some reason that day. And also we do have Thursdays. That's not publicly listed anywhere, but we do have volunteers on Thursday as well. And we love it when people sign up for that. And all of you are welcome to that. It doesn't matter if you're doing advanced research, you're welcome to sign up for that. And again, on that beige sheet is our direct phone number, and you can ask us anytime. We'll be happy to give you the direct phone number. But we do get busy on a daily basis with a lot of other things. And that's why we like to have those carved sessions out. But if we're not busy, we will definitely help you with some research if we're not just in the midst of a panic time up there. We're still happy to help you. All right, with all that said, directories. So I am not the most experienced genealogical person up there in the department. I have a lot of library experience, but not so much genealogy. But Michelle and Marge are wonderful, our normal workers that are up there. And again, Patty Salvaggio, and I forgot to mention another volunteer, Sedalis Hall. When they're here on Mondays, between the two of them, it's actually Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. They're happy to help you with your genealogical research. But we do have other materials here that aren't necessarily genealogical related, but they're helpful. They can be helpful in that, and they can be helpful for other things. One of them is the directories. They are, I will call it a phone book on steroids. They were developed quite a while back. I have the date here. Our Polk directory, which I'm going to get to here in a second. That started in 1890, and our collection ends in 2003. This is about an average size one. We have one that's twice as big as this. You might want help lifting it off the shelf. It literally weighs about 15 to 20 pounds. Then we have another one called a cross-reference directory. This started in 1965 in our collection, and this is current. We have up through the current year with that. Actually, the current year is over in adult reference. We have but in the library, we have all up through current. The cross-reference directory includes Escambia County and Santa Rosa. The Polk directory only includes Escambia County, Florida. Let's see, space bar doesn't seem to work. Maybe, what should I hit? There we go. That's fine, the mouse click could be fun. So the directories, so these directories are interesting. So they're think of them as kind of a phone book. In the Polk directory, you can look someone up by their address, by their name, or actually even their phone number. Now, most people probably wouldn't know the phone number from 1943 that someone had, unless they were that person that lived there. Even as a child, I can still remember my phone number better from when I was a child than my current cell phone. But you can look in the Polk directory by phone number, by address, or by name. In the cross-reference directory, unfortunately, you can't look by name, but you can look by phone number or address. And that comes in handy. We have actually people that aren't doing genealogical research. We have people that are wanting to buy a historical home, and they say, I'd kind of like to know something about it, who lived there over the years. Well, with these directories, you can find out an interesting amount of information. It will tell you the person's name. It will tell you their occupation, and some of them tell you their approximate income, which, you're not going to get from a normal phone book, but it's very interesting information. So if you're ever looking for something about a property that's here, somewhere in Escambia or Santa Rosa County, these directories might be the ticket. Now, I put this on the slide. These directories are rarely found online. I've done some searches, and it might even be illegal, the ones that are out there online. I'm not sure they were put up there legally, but I've found like maybe 1 year or 2 years online. So they're not something typically you're going to find online. So if that is something of interest, please come in. And again, we will show you where they're located. We're happy to help with that. I just put this up there about the Escambia County property appraiser. Sometimes if you're looking for information, I've been surprised. When I first got here, I got onto this website and I love it. And it's better than a lot of counties I've lived in, the information they have on ours. Now, it doesn't go back really far, but you can get some general information right off of their website. And this is Chris Jones. I'm not even sure if he's a property appraiser. I did this a year or two ago. And under there, you go on the property appraiser website. I've circled record search. And that's where you can put an address. This is actually my home address. So you'll find out all my secrets now. And so under there, just to show you what's on there, just some information that's on there as well as far as searching by address. So you see my name there, you see the address. Now where it says site US, so that's the actual address of the property when you type in a property address. If I, oops, forgot what I clicked, it was gonna do. The back arrows are probably yours. Here we are. Does that work or not? There we go, good. So up here where my name is under owner, the mailing address could be very different. If I was renting it out to somebody, that would be my mailing address might be New York. But then the site US, that's the actual address. Tells you it's a single family residence, tells you when I bought it. I was the last buyer, I'm still living there till they pulled me out and put me in a nursing home. They're good to go. You get a little sketch of the building, of the structure or multiple structures if that's the case. Has some info along the side about carpet, slab on grade. This is just like kind of a little bonus information. If you're looking ever for a property, I highly suggest you go there first, the Escambia County Property Appraiser. It'll give you listings of sales. You won't find a lot of details prior to like 2000 something, maybe around 2000. There's you might see the sales on the property appraiser website, but you won't see details about the owners or actually like the contracts in there. Just online, they don't go back that far, but at least you can see how many times it's been sold over the years. And then that gives you a place to start with this. Oh, there was one piece that I meant to show you. Yeah, so what I've circled up here is it tells you in this part of that page, and this is on one long page you scroll down through on the internet. So you see on the far left there, it says 10130 Cove Ave, year built, 1981. That's very helpful. If you're looking up a property and you want to know information about it, and you want to go back to the beginning, well, this will show you the beginning. And then it'll say effective year. To the best of my knowledge, that means the last time there was some major improvement made to the property. Maybe there was an addition put on it. I think in our case, that's when they put a sunroom on the house in 1990. The building ID doesn't matter, but so that gives you some information before you go to the Polk directory. You can go on there, see that when it was built, and go from there. Now, what's interesting, so it says it was built in 1981, and it really was, because the people we bought it from knew the original owner and told us it was built in 80. See, I click on it. Now, interestingly enough, it didn't show up in the Polk directory until 1987. Now, why that is, I'm not sure, because it was a property, it was there. Now, sometimes there will be properties, somebody might buy the land and not put property on it. So it won't actually even have an address for a while, but that wasn't the case with that. It was actually on there. However, in the cross-reference directory, the other one, it'll show it in a minute, but in the cross-reference directory, it showed up starting in 1985. So this is just a quick, brief example of what you could find in the Polk directory is what this one is. Yeah. And so that 10130 is my address, 10130 Cove Ave. And above there, you would see that it began the section with Cove Ave. So the 10130, looking it up by address, and then the original owner was Smith. It was a woman. I don't know her first name. I've just got her initials there, and there's her phone number. Don't call her. She doesn't live there anymore. And no, I'm not giving you my cell phone number. I meant to mention this. So you can look up by name or address. The more detailed information is actually under the name. So you may very well have to go by address. If you know the address, you find the address, and now I find it's C.D. Smith. So now I go under the name section, and now under C.D. Smith, and I've highlighted Smith Business up there just so you know This is the Smiths we're looking at. All they have is like the little quote marks there, that all the entries under Smith are, just quote marks. And then it shows CB. So I found out her name was CB Smith. So I looked up under Smith, CB. The H tells me she was a homeowner. If they're a renter, it'll sometimes have an R, B, I think, for boarder, and renter and boarder are often the same thing, depending on what year you're looking at. The further back you go, it seems they call them boarders more often than renters. And then 10130 Cove Ave. Now, in her case, there's no information about her occupation, but if you look down here, we've got Eugene and Hetty Smith, or C. Eugene, and it does say retired, and it doesn't tell you specifically from what age for homeowner. But now let's go down to this one, Smith, C. Milton, and Ellen. Oh, and that's the other thing, the spouse is in there too, if they have a spouse. And it'll say, and C. Milton Smith was a rep for Financial Security Corp of America, and age homeowner. And the scenic highways is maybe very well his business of where he worked. There's some really cool things under occupation sometimes. I remember seeing a railway worker for one of the railroads. So there's some kind of interesting information in there. If you're looking in the local area and say you're not looking to buy a historical home, but you're looking, your relative, genealogical research live there, you might find their occupation. Maybe that's something you haven't found anywhere else. You may find it in this directory. This is just the cross-reference directory. The other one, and I mentioned there that my home showed up in there in 1985. And I don't know why there was such a gap for those 85 and 87 when the home was built in 81. Usually it's not that big. Most people I've helped search for homes in there, it might be a year or two later before it shows up. 5, 6 year, 7 year gap is pretty unusual. And that's just the reference in the cross-reference directory that shows how it appears in there, CB Smith, the phone number. Let's see. And that was actually it for that. So it's a fairly short presentation about directories. It was something I found from a few people I talked to. They didn't, it wasn't something they were as familiar with. And again, if your research is mostly in Virginia or Tennessee or somewhere, however, let me mention this, they are nationwide. So if you've never heard of them, especially the Polk is very well known nationwide. So if you are doing research in other areas, be sure to ask them, do you have Polk directories? It may very well provide that little piece of information you've been looking for somewhere else. Obviously, we can't house all those volumes. As you can see, they're pretty big, so we can only house the ones from locally. But don't hesitate to ask if you go up to some of those areas, or even call that library and contact them. I'm sure you can see there's not a whole lot. They just have to go to a couple pages. They could copy it for you and send you that digitally. Any questions about any of that with the directories or anything about our department in general? Yeah.
That shows a cross-reference from the street names that change throughout the city.
I have not found that. And I've actually had a couple instances where I was trying to figure that out because they do change at times. And that, yes, when you're looking up these kind of records, it's tricky. The hardest one I had to deal with, somebody called in, and sometimes it could be somebody from Texas, but it's something to do with here in Pensacola, and they're doing research and they ask, and we do those kind of things all the time. We ask them to email us so we have a record of it and we can reply to email. They sometimes want to just talk to us verbally over the phone and, give us 400 pages of information while we're scrambling. We don't have 3 hours to talk to anyone on the phone. So they send it by email and then we reply. Well, one of the trickiest ones I found, it was a home. They physically moved the home. The home was lifted, put on a some kind of truck and move to a different address. It was a nightmare. It's where I found out the county has no records of the house. It's, it's all by address. And the assumption is that house is going to stay there unless it burns down and they rebuild or something like that. They don't know, oh, well, the house on Smith Street, yes, we have a record that it moved over to Gonzalez. They just don't have those kind of things. So that was a nightmare. But yes, I haven't found anything yet about street names. I would love, if any of you do, I would love to know that. I would love to have that. Yes.
Question.
Oh, okay.
What are the new purchases genealogy department?
We've had a few from societies. I mean, I don't actually have them with me. We've had a couple societies that wanted to donate some books, and they're very specific. Maybe the Tennessee legislature from 1848 to 1862. They were just very specific books. We don't have like any specific ones that I can think of. I can look that up for you and see what ones we've got maybe in the last year or so. I will mention this. I was debating if any of you have been online since we switched over to this new system. I do apologize. It is a disaster. I will just say that if you get frustrated with it, I can guarantee you we're 5 times higher level than that in frustrations. I don't even deal with a lot of the things that are a problem with it. A lot of them are more circulation related. And as you know, a lot of our materials don't even circulate, library only reference material. But yes, it is very difficult. Right now, they're still trying to straighten out. I would be surprised if it's less than 40, 50 problems with that system. So I do apologize about that. So even me looking up the books we've received now in the last year is going to be difficult, as opposed to the old system. There was like a couple buttons I could click and figure that out. I do apologize. Hang in there with that new system. Any problems you're having? Yeah.
Is the Polk Pensacola only the Pensacola city limits, or would Bellevue and Cantonment?
No, it does pretty much go with Escambia County from what I know. I thought originally that it was only the city limits, but then I began to see it was not. Now, if that changed in some particular year, I'm not sure of that. Like if at one time in 1920, it was only the city, and then, in 1950, it expanded the county. I'm not sure of that, but it looks to me now more that it is the county, not just the city. That's a great question, though. The cross-reference one is definitely more expanded as far as where it covers, because it even goes into Santa Rosa. However, the fact that you can't look up by name is a bit of a bummer to me. And looking up by a 1950 phone number isn't half as helpful as why they would have an ability to look up by a phone number and not a name. I can't say, but I prefer the Polk when we have both for one given year. I prefer the Polk because it seems to have more information in it sometimes. But I use them both because you never know. One might. Like in my case of my home, it didn't show up till 1987 in the Polk, and it was 85 in the other. Anybody else have any questions? All right. Well, again, let me encourage you, please come up. We love to see people doing genealogical research. Anything we can do to help you. If at that moment in time we can't devote an hour or something to it, we will work with you to schedule you that you can come back, and I promise you we will give you the time that you need for help with any of your research.